And his name is Leon. What's up, everyone? How y'all doing? Hey, what's going on, everybody? Glad to see y'all back. Excited to get into some JavaScript today. Come on in, come on in. No mute today, I got it right. It only took me a couple of months, but we're in here. What's going on, everybody? How you doing? Jen, thank you for the sub. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Alrighty, folks. I ordered Domino's watching Smurfs. I feel like, yeah, Izzy, WWE in here. I feel like I need I can't, I've been working on so much stuff for after we come back from break. Like everything's going to change when we come back from break. But I've been really, I've been talking to a few editors. I really want like a better, like it's starting video. And I really want to like embody like the WWD like entrance theme. Like I got to get my own like entrance theme, you know, get it hype, make it provocative, you know. True for 24. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you being in here. Thank you so much. 2 months. Woo. Air horns everywhere. Yep, exactly. And like I gotta have like the lights going. I have like these really fancy lights that are all different colors and they can flash like all the YouTubers have, right? Like we did with our YouTube color picker. I got those. So we're gonna make it extra spicy, extra hype when we come back from the break. Are you going to be doing a matching Speedo for the bikini? Hey, if they had it, I take it. Reptar Bro coming in with the raid of 10. Welcome, folks. Reptar, how'd it go? How was the stream? Reptar and Diabolical. I've been working. I added a few channels last night. I'm going to add some more this weekend. But one of them is going to be like it's live channel. So for the folks that are part of the community, when they go live, you can get like a message if you're part of that channel. So I'll reach out to y'all and make sure you get added to that channel. And that'll be a channel like where you can share your Twitch links and stuff like that. Cool. Hey, Fire, what's going on? What's going on, everybody? All right. The question, exactly. Thank you, DeFlo. The question for tonight is, would you rather be an extra in a great movie or a star or have a big role in a really crappy movie? Let's say a big role in a crappy movie. So either an extra in one of the best movies of the year or a big role in like a really crappy movie. Liquid Words, thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Say Levito, thank you. Thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. Welcome, folks. All right, we see a lot of extras. In the great movie. Big role, snakes on a plane 4. I'm feeling a big role in a really crappy, like direct to DVD movie. Like not even like direct to Netflix. I'm talking like straight to DVD. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's going to be on the shelf at Best Buy for 5 years. That's what I'm feeling. Jen, thank you for the bits. Thank you so much. Oh, Israel Johnny Cakes with the hydration. Cheers to you. Gonrish, thank you for the bits. Oh, with the bits. It's the bits train is what it is here, folks. Thank you, Wolfgang. Thank you for the bits. Alyssa, I saw it coming early. Thank you for the bits. I appreciate y'all. Kat, I am drinking a lovely diet iced tea. Go nice and slow with this intro. I'm trying to heat up some pizza real quick. Go ahead. We're not going to get into anything quick. Yeah, so nice diet iced tea tonight, folks. But here's what I want y'all to do. Here's what I want tonight. Tonight's all about review. It's all about trying to make some of these things start to click and make sense. But since we're doing just review, I want you all in the game a little bit. All right. I want you in it. I want your brains working at good capacity. So here's what I want everyone to do. I want you to get up. If you don't have liquids, go grab some water. Everybody get up, go grab a glass of water and come back. Because whenever somebody makes me hydrate, like Kat, cheers to you. Thank you for the hydration. I want you to hydrate. All right. So if somebody makes me hydrate, you got to hydrate. So everybody go get a glass of water, come back. I'm not going to do anything until you get your water. Like you sitting down right now, not getting up, get up, go get water. Come on back. I missed some bits here. Sheenan, thank you for the bits. Booty Liquor with the 2,000 bits. What? Whew. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Oh boy. Izzy, thank you for the gifted sub. I appreciate you too. We in here tonight, folks. We're here. We're ready for some JavaScript. I love it. The boys with the resume review. Send me a message on Discord. I'm going through them all this weekend. So I got like 3 or 4 of them that I'm doing. I'm getting to them this weekend. I got through all my DMs, almost all my DMs. So I got some time. We're going to get through them. Thank you for the gifted subs. What? Hype train already. Jeez. Gunrish with the bits. Thank you so much. All right, folks. Hopefully you got your water. Greetings from Berlin. It's Friday already. Networking is going great. Hey, I love to hear that. That's awesome. That's good to hear. I've been hearing a lot of folks that have been getting their networking in. A lot of folks have been saying that it's been working out pretty well. It's working so well that I have like the folks that started the networking apps reaching out to me saying, hey, you're sending a lot of folks our way. Can we talk? That's how much y'all are networking. I've gotten 2 emails from 2 different networking apps being like, you sent so many people our way. Let's talk. That's how much y'all are networking. That made my week. I got that email. I was like, yeah, we doing this. We out here. All right. So it's the real Johnny Cakes. Hydrated 3 times. That means y'all got to hydrate 3 times. Gonna take a sip. Cheers to you. That's my 1. That's my 2. That's my 3. Kat, you've done 7 conferences this week? That's wild. No free promotions around here. Sorry to hear about that, Chris. Yeah, it's wild times, right? We're easing into it. You know, you got the expectation that you're doing it. We're easing into it. When we come back from the holidays, it's game on. It's super serious when we come back from the holidays. But for right now, you're easing into it. Everybody's doing it. It's been great to see that it's been working for a lot of y'all. A lot of y'all are getting some great connections. So you're meeting some folks that are already like trying to give you interviews. Got some folks that are already like trying to get you to build websites. I talked to a couple people this week that already have clients on the hook. By the way, shout out, Tuesdays are how to freelance class. It's all about how to freelance. I'm going to have contracts for you. I'm going to have starter templates for you. I'm going to have email templates for you. I'm going to have everything that you need to start making money with the skills that you already have. That's Tuesday. But this week's been great. Y'all been reaching out, sending me some love, sending me the things that you've been doing. I've been seeing y'all in the Discord. It's awesome. I'm glad y'all are doing well. All right. Now, today's all about review. We are literally going to run back last class. And so we're going to talk about that first. So let's go ahead. Please make sure you have your water. Please make sure you're ready to hydrate along with me. I'm not the only one that's going to have to go to the bathroom today. Whenever I do a stretch, I want everyone to stretch. If you're able. If you're able, I want you to stretch when I stretch. If you're able to hydrate when I hydrate, please do it. Let's get a little bit of movement. Let's get a little bit of flowingness. And let's get into it. I'm going to go ahead and go to Little Leon here just to bring up the question slides. All right. Questions. Let's get some questions in. Folks are still trying to get into the stream, so let's give folks another minute or so to get in here, and then we'll get started. Praying the universe sends me a client that wants to pay $200 for a YouTube background picker. Wouldn't that be the life? Hey, if you need a YouTube background picker, we got you. Why does my code act so different in CodePen than it does when opening up my IDE? CodePen be glitchy sometimes. It is not a perfect platform. Think about what it's doing. It's like emulating in the browser the stuff that you've already done, and so that causes some errors sometime. But as long as you know it's working on your end and you send that to me, I'm gonna trust you. I'm still gonna try and run it every once in a while, but if it's really janky, I'll reach out. What does parse mean? I've seen it a lot for JS, but I'm still screwy of what it means. So parse has a lot of different things, but whenever you hear the word parse, think like you're going to pull something out. Like you're going to pull something out, right? So there's the really common one that you see. All right, Alyssa, pizza's been obtained. All right, we can start. We're going to start now, folks. We got Alyssa's back. Got your pizza in tow. We're starting. Parse is you pull something out. Ooh, level 3 hype train. What's this? I haven't seen this emote before. I feel like I always feel like a little kid. I'm like, ooh, like a new emote. That's awesome. Thank you everybody who donated today. That's awesome. Thank you so much. So parse is pulling something out, right? And so one of the most early ones that you'll see is something called parse int. So if you have a string, like a piece of text, and there's a number in it, you can pull that number out of the text. Let me show you. I'm going to open up my inspector here. Going to go to my console. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger so we can see. I was doing some coding on my own today, so that's why it's a little bit smaller out the jump. All right, so let's go ahead and say we have the number 3 here, right? That's a number, but we can also have string 3, right? Look what happens when I do 3 plus 5. Right? When I have that string 3 plus that number 5, it doesn't add them. It doesn't give me 8. It concatenates. It concatenates. It sandwiches them together. Whenever you do a string plus a number, you don't do addition. You squeeze them together. And so that's called concatenation. Now, there's something fun that we can do. And that's that we can do this parse int. And you see that works. Parse int is built into JavaScript. We talked a lot about last class how we're going to see that there's all this stuff that's built into JavaScript that makes our lives a lot easier. All this stuff that if we had to write from scratch, we would never use the language, right? So the folks that made JavaScript, they gave us all these wonderful tools that are built into the language that do a lot of the heavy lifting for us. And we'll eventually start to call them functions and specifically methods. We're not there yet. Just know that there are tools built into JavaScript to help us. So this parse int, what it's doing, you might have guessed by looking at it, is it's pulling the number out of that string, right? It's pulling that number out of the string. It's parsing the number out of the string. We know it's a string because it's inside the quotes. And so it's pulling that number 3 out so that we can use the number 3. And then we have the number 3 plus the number 5. So we're doing addition, right? And there are some other ones too. You might have seen this. Doing the same thing, right? It's another tool. It's another tool built into JavaScript that makes our lives easier, right? It just gives us the number out of it. So that's what parse can mean. Yeah. All right. Would parse work with 3? No, it wouldn't. It's actually funny. So if we did this, we're going to get not a number. Nan stands for not a number, right? The word 3 doesn't get casted to like the actual number 3. It's just a word. And so JavaScript isn't clever enough to see that it's a word and give us the number from the word. But what a great coding challenge that might be in the future. That's a fun coding challenge. When we got a little bit more reps underneath our belt, I think that might be a good coding challenge. Yeah. What'd you say about my nan? Yeah, not a number. Yeah, not a number. Dumb JavaScript. Booty liquor. What? That's 3,000 bits today. What? Thank you so much. Hey, I appreciate you. What? And I love that when you do, it gives emotes to folks, so everyone gets the little micro Leon. That's really cool. Hey. All right, that was a good question. I like talking about that one. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill the music now. I think most of our folks are here. Booty be wildin'. I agree. Booty be wildin' today. I appreciate you though. Thank you for being here. All right, let's get into it. Now, before I get into that, you're gonna notice. Wait a minute, Leon. It looks like we did all this already. You're right. We did. Spaced repetition, review. We're doing it all again tonight. We're doing it all again. Everything we did last class, we're doing it again. Again. You're gonna be like, Leon, that looks like the same. That looks like the 5-minute exercise we did before. You're right. We're doing it again. You're like, Leon, that looks like the same question you asked last class. You're right. Because we're doing it again. Leon, that looks like the same slide. Yep, you're right. We're doing it again. And guess what? You come back on Saturday, we're doing it again. Right? A lot of folks were like, Leon, it's not making sense. It's not clicking. Woe is me. My brain melted. Another one. It's not clicking. It's not making sense. I'm really fighting the urge to be like, well, yeah, it's only been 2 classes. It shouldn't make sense. Like the stuff, like if JavaScript made what? Knock it off. Booty liquor. Thank you so much for the bits. I appreciate you. I do. That's too much, though. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. What? That's too much, Mom. That's too much. I appreciate you, though. Thank you. Alyssa, if Booty Liquor does more bits, ban them, please. No, don't ban them. Like, do the kick. I thought it was going to be Booty Liquor. I was like, damn, now I got to kick him. The timeout. Whatever the timeout one is. I appreciate you all. Thank you for the bits. Jimmy, thank you for the bits. All right. You won't. You're mad with power. All right. If this was a class on Japanese, Omar, thank you for the sub. 4 months. Triple OG, thank you for coming back. Glad you're here. If you've been learning Japanese after 2 classes, anonymous chair, thank you for the bits. Bet you that's real sus right there. That anonymous bits, that was a little sus. I'm not gonna lie, that was a little sus. I wonder who that might have been. If you were 2 classes into learning Japanese, knock it off. If you were 2 classes into learning Japanese, you would not be coming to me on Discord saying, Leon, stop it. What? I can't even talk. all the anonymous folks are just trying to get Booty Liquor in trouble. It's really not them, and they're just trying to get them in trouble. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for all the bits. This has to be the most bits we've ever done, and we're only like 20 minutes in the class. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. If you're new around here, all the bits, the subbing, all that goes to a donation to Resilient Coders, the nonprofit I work at during the day. So I appreciate all the support. We got 40 folks coming into our next cohort, and this will be a big help because we actually pay our students to go through the program. They never pay us a dime. What? 4,000? Jesus. You know what? This is it right here. The anonymous and the gift giving. That's the thing that I love. Like that I'm about it. I'm hip with that all day long. You're making other people's days. You're helping out other folks of the community. I love it. I love all the other subs. I love everything, but it warms my heart when I see it for the greater good. I love it. I was saying that we have 40 folks coming in. Our students never pay a dime. We never ask them to do anything other than turn around and bring more people into the companies with them. And we actually pay them a stipend to go through the program. Because for a lot of folks, as you know, it's hard to take that time off to do an intense program. So all of the bits and the subbing and all that is going straight to help pay student stipends. And that actually is a big help. So I thank you, everyone. Thank you for the bits. It's way too much. But thank you. All right. Let's go back to it. Hold on. Let me get my composure here. If we were learning JavaScript, if we were learning Japanese and we were 2 classes in, right? We were 2 classes in, you wouldn't be sending me a DM saying, "Hey, Leon, I'm not fluent yet. Hey, Leon, I can't go to the corner store and have a full-blown conversation with my neighbor." Right? You wouldn't. And so don't put that level of stress on yourself right now. You're 2 classes in of JavaScript. Things shouldn't make sense. Like, they shouldn't. It's just too much, too little time. Right? And so don't put that pressure on yourself because it's not realistic. Now, last class, and we're going to do it again this class, I really want you to focus on keep donating, man. Spatial repetition. I lost my damn train of thought. There we go. All right, here we go. This class and last class, I want you to see patterns. That's it. I want you to start seeing stuff for the first time. We're going to have tons of classes to go over the details, to go over why is it written this way and not that way. But what I want you to be is exposed to a lot of different things, like event listeners, functions, variables, conditionals. I want you to see them. I want you to play with them. I don't necessarily need you to understand the nitty gritty behind them. And I don't need you like pushing yourself to get there between class. Not right now. Right now is about seeing these building blocks, seeing like these Legos and saying, all right, I don't really know why this Lego has like 4 dots and this one has 2 dots, but I'm just going to start stacking them and maybe I can build something. Right? All right. It's really about playing early on. The same thing with the HTML and CSS too, right? Like HTML and CSS is so overwhelming when you first look at it, but after you start building a layout, or you build a second layout, or your third layout, and you start to see the patterns, it gets a little bit easier. It starts to make a little bit more sense. Do you know exactly all the details behind everything? No. But it starts to make a little bit more sense. And so with JavaScript, it's so new, it's so different. I like to show folks MJ Entitled, thank you for the bits. Miss Turner, thank you for the gifted subs. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I want you to start seeing the building blocks, to start using them. And as we progress, there will be time for knowing the details. Okay? There will be time to know the details. Now's not that time. Now it's time to see the blocks. It's starting to see and see everything so that when we come back, when we come and we say, all right, I want to really understand functions, it's not the first time you've seen them. When you come back and you say, I really want to understand conditionals, it's not the first time you've seen them. When you come back and say, I really want to be able to do complex event listeners, it's not the first time you've seen them. So give yourself a little bit of wiggle room. Give me a little bit of faith that by seeing them first, playing with them, even when you have no idea what they're doing, it's going to lead to you having a better time once we start really drilling down on the nitty details of JavaScript. Okay? Kickoffs, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. OG 4-month squad. See the Beast, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you so much. All right. Are we going to go back to CSS specifically for Flexbox? Yes. When we come back from the holidays, we're going to have a little bit of JavaScript in our arsenal. We're going to come back. We're going to go a little bit deeper into Flexbox. We're going to build real sites with JavaScript. And then we're going to come back and go super deep into the language, right? So you're going to have a lot of review over the holidays. You're going to have a lot of reading, a lot of building over the holidays. And it's going to be prepping us so that when we come back from the holidays, we can hit the ground running. We can start building real functioning websites with all the bells and whistles. And then once we're able to do that, we're going super deep into JavaScript so you can use it as a fully functioning programming language. Period. Next Friday is your birthday. Happy birthday. I literally want all the homework and readings. Hey, it's coming. It's coming. All right. So we're 2 classes in. Forgive yourself a little bit here. Let's absorb. We're going to redo everything. This is what I want you to do. We're literally going to redo everything tonight. We're going to add on a little bit of function stuff that we didn't get to last class. And then your homework. Like if we jump all the way to the end. Here, already. I'm just going to hold down. We're going to jump all the way to the end just so you know what's coming. Connor, thank you for the bits. Would you be down to have a Discord chat with a European fellow to talk about computer science opportunities in America? Yeah, absolutely. For a lot of folks, I have my Mondays that kind of fill up pretty quickly, but DM me and we can make something work. All right. Just so you know what homework's coming, comment out your JS. Type it all out again without looking. Peek at it if you have to. Repeat until you do not have to peek. Delete your JavaScript entirely and do it again. Then do it again, but change something. For every assignment that we're doing tonight, your homework. Thank you. Juanita George, thank you for the bits. Thank you. For every assignment we're about to redo, we're redoing every assignment. Then for homework, you're going to redo them again. You're going to comment out all the JavaScript. You're going to type it out all again without looking. You're going to peek if you have to, but you're going to repeat until you don't need to. Then you're going to delete it, do it again, but you're going to change something. You're going to do this over and over and over. Gunners, thank you for the 500 bits. Over and over and over again. Exactly. Like the Karate Kid practicing. Small motions. That's where we're at. This isn't an academic journey into the intricacies of functions. We're playing with fucking Legos. That's what we're doing. We're not writing the textbook on how a function works. We're kicking over the huge bucket of Legos and we're playing with them. That's what we're doing. And you're going to play with them over and over and over again until you're going to know how to stack these Lego blocks in different ways and then we'll take time to go deeper and understand the basics. So don't feel bad about yourself. If things aren't clicking, that's okay. We're here to play with Legos tonight. We're going to play with them again and again and again. And then slowly we'll start introducing the details, and you'll start to slowly become more comfortable with the language. All right. Looks like we had a hydration. Jen, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Everyone, please take a sip of delicious water while I kick booty liquor. Thank you so much. Drink, 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 everyone. Grab your water. Drink, drink, drink. Shoot, I drank whiskey on accident. No, that's not an accident. Now, you'll also notice that this is in all caps. The coding challenge that I will release after class, MJ entitled, thank you for the bits. The challenge that I will release after class, I'll release the coding challenge when I put up the solutions. The coding challenge will be to take these all caps and make it all lowercase. I'd want you to make all of this lowercase. That's going to be the coding challenge. Now, this is the coding challenge, and it kind of leads me into something that I want to talk about real quick while we're here, because it's important. This right here is how you yell on the internet. I have shared some motivational videos with yelling in them without giving a trigger warning. For that, I sincerely apologize. I didn't mean to kind of invoke something. I like those videos because I find them motivational for certain individuals. But one of the things I'm going to try really hard to do going forward is to make sure that if there's content in there that I think might make folks uncomfortable, you're going to see a trigger warning before all the materials that I share. So you can go into the materials knowing that I'm thinking about that I'm conscious about it. May I make a mistake? Absolutely. But I'm going to try my hardest to make sure that the things I share, if there's anything that might be like triggering, violence, yelling, anything like that, that there will be a warning on it. And I'm going to ask you all as a community to do the same thing. As you're sharing resources, as you're sharing stuff on Discord, if you feel like it might invoke a not so great reaction in someone, or it might be something that might be harmful or might cause someone some pain, even if it seems something simple, I'm going to ask you that you use the spoiler tags on Discord and put a warning. Now, are we going to make mistakes? Is it something that we're not always going to get correct the first time? Absolutely. But I encourage you to make our space inclusive, to be mindful of the experiences that other folks might have had. And if you're putting out any content, just be careful. Okay. On Discord, if you highlight your text, the last little icon is a spoiler tag. You can use that and it will actually black out your text. If blacking out the text isn't working, you can always just put TW is pretty common with a colon, just so folks know before they read that content. Also, just another great reminder to be inclusive on Discord, to use language that is kind, to give folks the benefit of the doubt, to assume the best of intentions, and to be careful with the language and voice that you share, right? Make sure you're being kind, make sure you're giving folks the space they need to learn, and be careful even with things that you might perceive as jokes, because they can have a negative impact on folks. So as our community grows, as our Discord numbers swell, let's keep in mind the folks that we want to support and that we're here to uplift everyone and make sure everyone learns how to code. So the coding challenge will be to turn all of this into lowercase, but just so you know, the homework is repetition. Boom. All right. Literally, let's run it back. Once again, just so folks are aware, did something happen that we're getting a talk right now? No, I mean, there have been some things that have been said. We've had to talk to a few individuals, but it's something that I want everyone to be aware of, because we've all had moments where we've done things unintentionally, like me sharing the videos without putting that warning. So it's just something I want us to be mindful of. Just as we grow and there's more people that are coming for the first time, as folks are joining and they're completely new. We have a lot of folks that are maybe coming to us a little bit late. And so they'll be sharing code that's not perfect. They'll be sharing things that might seem like they haven't caught up yet. And that's okay. Let's be inclusive of them. Cool. All right. So for the holidays, we have no class on the 22nd, the 24th, the 29th, or the 31st. There will be a ton of work. You will have lots of things to do. We just won't be physically meeting because a lot of folks will be traveling or spending time with their family. All right. The golden rule, separation of concerns. Our content should be in our HTML. Our style should be in our CSS. Our behavior and interaction that we're starting to write now should be in our JavaScript. And we do this all because of, and the wall of responses overcomes chat, organization. Exactly. Organization for ourselves, organization for our team. When we come back and we want to make something happen, when we click on something, we now know to go to our JavaScript. We don't have to look anywhere else. It just helps us stay organized. All right. I will miss class though. Can we play Minecraft at least then? Yes. The Minecraft server will be up and running throughout the holiday, so we could go. It won't be launching tonight though. I apologize. I know there's some people that are just like dying to get on this server. I can't be there after stream tonight to get it going. So on Saturday we'll launch it because I'll have more time. I don't want it to keel over. I want to be able to watch the logs. Debated in chat. It'll be on Saturday. I apologize. No, I can't do it right after stream, and so we're gonna launch it on Saturday. All right, IDs and classes. IDs we use with our HTML to be specific, to target one element and only one element. I'm playing all day on Saturday, Knox. I'll be there. We have one element and only one element that has an ID of zebra. Once we give something the ID of zebra, no other HTML element can have that ID. It is a unique identifier. We also have classes. Classes can be added to multiple elements. Each element can have pretty much as many classes as you would like. And they're a way of applying or targeting multiple elements at the same time. Cool. Programming. Let's talk about programming, folks. A computer will do what you tell it to do. That's the fact here. So a program is really just a set of instructions that you write to tell a computer what to do, right? And then the act of programming is just writing those instructions in a language that the computer can understand. When we write JavaScript, that JavaScript gets broken down into something that the computer can understand. And the reason why we like to write JavaScript is because it's human readable. I can show you my JavaScript code and you know the instructions that the computer can follow, or the instructions that the computer will eventually follow. It comes with a lot of stuff built in. Like we just saw at the very beginning of class, that number, our parse int, that's stuff that's built into the language to help us do our job and get the stuff done that we want to get done. And JavaScript has a lot of goodies, a lot of things that are going to help us do a lot of heavy lifting as we start to use it. The other really cool thing about JavaScript is so far we've seen it running on the client side, right? Running in the browser, manipulating the DOM, the rendering we see in the browser. But we can also use JavaScript via Node, which is a runtime for JavaScript. We can then use it on the server. You could take your JavaScript and build mobile apps that work on Android and iOS. You can take your JavaScript and build desktop apps that run on Windows and macOS and GNU Linux. You can take your JavaScript and actually run it on microcontrollers. So with just this one language, you can do a lot. like a lot, and build for a lot of different platforms. And you don't have to do what's called context switching, meaning that if you use JavaScript, you don't have to switch between Python or Ruby and then also have to write JavaScript. That's why I love teaching JavaScript as your first language, because it can be used everywhere. You don't really have to learn something else. You can get really comfortable with it and use it to build the things that you want to do. All right. Izzy just gave us all a lovely posture check. So everyone, please take the next few seconds, get your posture right. Your head should be supported by your spine. All right, there we go. Ooh, and Ninja gave us all a hydration. Everyone, drinks, please. Hydrate with me. Thank you. All right. Posture's right. Hydration's right. Let's keep it moving. All right, chat. Why is Independence Day a true story? Why is Independence Day a true story? Hydro homies. Because of reverse engineering, binary upload boom. You can't throw a bang in there. Come on now. Binary upload boom, right? Binary upload boom. Now, Jeff Goldblum saved the world by writing a computer virus that infected an alien mothership. That seems wild. That can never happen, but it is a true story and it totally could happen. Jeff Goldblum took that language, reversed engineered it all the way down to the binary, the on and off values, built it back up to the simple logic based on those on and off values. From that simple logic built up to a language that the alien computers could understand, and then wrote a system that took their power down so that we could nuke them, save the world, America. All right. Now, we did have the binary upload boom in the merch drop. Chat, what merch would you like to see come back? Like, out of everything that we did, what's the one that you'd want to see come back? I'm just curious. What's the only one you'd want to see come back? Like, out of the stuff that we did have. We're going to do other stuff like beanies and masks and stuff like that. What would you want to see come back? Hoodie, bikini. Everybody says it's bikini. Hoodie. All right. Seems like the hoodies for sure. All right, cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's good to know. What would you want on the hoodie? Would you want the 100 devs by itself? Would you want the binary upload boom? Would you want the software engineer? What would you want on it? Box model. Good vibes. Automagically. Picture of you with your haircut. 100 dev software engineer. 100 devs with a little Leon. Something that the nuns would be proud of. All right, cool. You flexing with the Pokemon cards. I did get a DM with that in there. It's just the hoodie of me with the Pokemon cards on it. I thought that was hilarious. Cool. All right. Thank you. Thank you for the feedback. It has been noted. Thank you. All right. JavaScript time, folks. Remember, JavaScript has a specific syntax, and that's the thing we really don't want to get bogged down with too much early on. There's going to be a specific way that we write, right? I would buy the hoodie with Leon holding the Pokemon cards. There's going to be a specific way that we write JavaScript, certain characters that we use, curly braces here, parentheses there. We're going to have plenty of time to practice all of that. Don't get overwhelmed by it at first. At first, we're kind of copying things that we've already seen, copying those building blocks. We'll have plenty of time to pick up the syntax. All right. Chat, what are variables? What are variables, chat? Can you tell me what a variable is, please? Data buckets. Nice. Buckets, storage buckets, memory containers. I love it. So we could think of a variable exactly as like a bucket that stores a value for later on. So we're going to have memory. And what have I just done here? What step have I just done here, chat? What is that? What have I just done in terms of memory in JavaScript? There's a very specific word for what I've just done. My buckets bring all the programmers to the yard. Yeah, this is declaration. I have declared a new variable. This is the same thing as saying let card, right? I have declared a new space in memory. And now there's a space in memory that I could eventually put a value into. And so the next step I would do, I got to move my hydration here. I could say card equals, and then I could put a string in here, blue eyes, white dragon, right? So this step right here, this equals blue eyes, white dragon. If we looked at this space in memory, we would have blue eyes, white dragon stored in the card, right? What is this stage right here? What is this step that I just did called, please? Yes. It is assignment. Lovely. Thank you so much. Yep. It's assignment. And so on one line here, we have done both declaration and assignment, right? Both declaration and assignment here on one line. But that declaration is creating that space in memory, and then assigning is putting a value into that space in memory. So here we see that declaration. We're using a variable keyword, let, const, sometimes var. And then we're doing assignment where you put a space into that memory, and we can do both at the same time, both declaration and assignment right here. We have ways that we would like to name all of our variables that we can be consistent. I really enjoy camel case. And so what camel case is that the first letter is lowercase and then every other word is capitalized. So number is lowercase, of and apples is capitalized. And that just makes sure that we're consistent. When we're working together as a team, I can tell you, hey, all my variables are camel case and you know what to do going forward. All right, chat. Everybody got their water? Y'all ready to hydrate? Wolfgang, 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 thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Let us drink. Man, this fancy Starbucks cup is one of my favorite purchases of 2020. I can just feel like I'm back in real life on my way to work, stopping by Starbucks, just getting my life going. I never stopped at Starbucks. It's all a lie, but I feel normal when I use it. There you go, sharks. It's just like their plastic one. It's nice. I never buy coffee because it's too damn expensive. And my office is amazing. The office that I used to go into every day had a wall of tea. Literally a wall of tea. There was a wall from ceiling to bottom full of tea. Any tea you could think of. We had a wall of tea. We had a pour over coffee station with like really good pour over coffee like setups with Little Wolf roast, which was one of my favorites. We had an espresso machine. We had an industrial coffee machine. So there was never, ever a reason for me to pay for any coffee. And I really tried to not buy any breakfast or lunch and just eat all the free stuff they had in the building. So that was the awesome thing. Yeah, I saved a lot of money. That also leads to something. I didn't tell this at the beginning of class, but today I had something really, really special happen. One of my students that is now, I think they're 6 months on the job now, a little more. Yeah, 6 months on the job. They just told me that they had $2,000 in their bank account, which is huge, right? They didn't have a job. They they were in debt and they were able to kind of turn it around and now have 2K in their bank account. And I was like, what? Let's go. And so that like lifted my spirits today. And so I just wanted to mention that was like a big win for me. Cool. Because we were talking about money. All right. Now we have these, another posture check. All right, chat. Come on. Get your posture check. Alyssa, thank you for the bits. All right, posture check. Come on. Get right. There we go. There we go. All right, we're looking good. Take care of yourself, folks. It's serious. It's real out here. Y'all are writing code every day now. A lot of you are writing code every day. You're sitting in front of the computer every day. Take care of yourself. Do your stretches. Make sure you're typing correctly. Make sure your hydration. Make sure you're getting up when we take a break. It's important. Do what you got to do to take care of your body. All right. So we have these variables that we're creating. We're using a consistent naming convention, and we can put different stuff in them. The two things we've talked about so far that we can put into our variables are strings, which are pieces of text. And we've also seen the ability to put numbers into our variables. The thing about strings is that you can either use single quotes, double quotes, or cheekily, we've also seen ticks as well. And so those can all be used to denote a string. In JavaScript, we have numbers, and we can represent these numbers in different ways. We can have integer values, which are like whole numbers. We can have floated values, which are numbers with decimal places. We can also have side numbers, positive and negative numbers. These all work in JavaScript. We have arithmetic, plus sign for addition, minus sign for subtraction, asterisk for multiplication, / for division, and percent sign for modulus. And let's see if we can do our math right tonight, folks. If we had 10 mod 6, we'd wind up with what? 10 mod 6 equals what? 55. No, it's 4. There you go. Because 6 goes into 10 one time, and we have 4 left over. Modulus always gives us the remainder. Good stuff, chat. We're on fire tonight. All right. Eventually, we want to start making decisions. We want to start using our conditional logic to make a decision. But before we can start making decisions with our conditional logic, we have to know how to compare stuff. And so in JavaScript, we have 3 equal signs and we have 2 equal signs. And these can both be used for comparison. JavaScript is really interesting because you can compare not only things like numbers, but also your strings and even elements as we get further along. So for now, whenever you see 3 equal signs, chat, what are we comparing? When you see 9 triple equals 9, what are we comparing? We're comparing both what? Yes. We're comparing both value and type. Exactly. 3 equal signs, value and type. 2 equal signs, chat. What are 2 equal signs equal to? Just 2. Go for Mitch. Thank you for the sub. Appreciate you. Yeah, it's just value. Sorry if you're from the UK. I should have done that. This is like really bad in the UK. I apologize. We'll do it this way. 2 is just value. And then 1 is what, chat? What would 1 be? Assignment, reassignment. Nice. Nice. Alrighty. Here's the wall of pain right here. Let's do it with... well, we already did it yesterday. Let's do it again, though, just to go through a little bit quickly here. I asked you to come back to this and try 8 or 10 or something like that. I'm still going to ask you to do that. Come back to this and try a different number. But let's run through with the number 3 again, because we're running it back, folks. We're doing it again. We're getting that spatial repetition in. We're breaking through the weird stuff. Let's get into it, and then we're gonna take a little bit of break after we get through our conditional syntax here. All right. So wherever we see X, we have assigned X to be the number 3. So does the number 3 equal the number 8 in value, chat? Nope. So that's a false statement. Does the number 3 equal the string number 3 in value? Does number 3 equal string number 3 in value? It does equal in value, but does number 3 equal string number 3 in type? No. One is a number and one is a string. And so that equals false. Does number 3 equal number 3 in number? Yes. Does number 3 equal number 3 in type? Yes. So that's true. Does number 3 not equal 8? That's true. Yeah, it doesn't equal 8. 3 does not equal 8. Remember, whenever we see the exclamation point or the bang, we like to call it, whenever you see that bang, it means not equal. All right, now here's the tricky one. Does number 3 not equal string number 3 in value? Not equal. Does number 3 not equal string number 3 in type? So since it is not equal, we get true. I'm just letting people kind of melt down about this one. This is the hard one. This is the tricky one. Because it's a little bit different if it was just one equal sign. It'll be a little bit different if it was just one equal sign. But what we're saying here is, does number 3 not equal string number 3 in both value and type? Value and type. Right? You're starting to see why JavaScript can be a little weird, a little tricky at time, right? Oh, we got a hydration. Let's get a hydration while we think through this. Let's get a hydration here. Let's get a hydration. Everybody drink. This is a weird one. It's weird. Does number 3 not equal string 3 in value and type? It's given us true because it is not equal when it comes to typing. One is a string, right? One is a string and one is a number. So it's going to give us true because it is not equal when it comes to typing. Now, when we look at the next one, I think when I look at the next one, it makes it a little bit easier for my brain to understand it. When I look at the next one, is there something that's not true here? Does number 3 not equal number 3 in value? Or does it not equal number 3 in type? It's never not equal. It's never not equal. So that is a false statement. But when we look at the one above, it is eventually not equal, right? It is eventually not equal. And so since it is eventually not equal, we get true. Now, does that honestly make 100% sense in my brain? Not really. But is it how JavaScript has been written is it how JavaScript has been written to understand that statement? Yes. And so this is one of those things where we're going to eventually start talking about truthy and falsy values in JavaScript. You may have done some reading around this. And I think it's one of the weird things about JavaScript that can make it a little bit hard to understand. And so for now, Leon, stop being so negative. So for now, let's put this like in our mental pocket. And I want you to come back and play with other numbers here. Play with 8, play with 3, and look at both of them, right? Look at both of them. I feel like by talking myself through the second one, the first one makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, it's like a double negative, basically. Cool. Is 3 greater than 8? Nope. Is 3 less than 8? Yes. Is 3 greater than or equal to 8? No. Is 3 less than or equal to 8? Yes. Okay. Cool. Wall of pain. All right. Let's go over conditional syntax real quick, and then we're gonna take a lovely break. All right. So with our conditionals, Hadouken, there actually is never bang triple equals. The bang is kind of like having the first equal sign. Great question. So with our conditionals, the syntax is a keyword, some parentheses with a value inside, and then our curly braces. Okay, that's the syntax. And the syntax of a conditional is that if whatever is inside these parentheses is true, you do what's inside the curly braces and then stop. Okay? So the extension of this is that we also get some other keywords. Else if and else. The way it works when you have them in series is that if the one above evaluates the false, you move on. But as soon as one of them is true, you stop. Okay, so if what was inside this if was true, we would do what's inside the first curly braces and stop. If it was false, we would move on. And then if what was inside the else if was true, we do what was inside the curly braces, and then we would stop. Now, the cool thing is we have an else on this conditional block, right? We have an else on this conditional block. An else will automatically run if everything else above it was false. So if this if was false, this else if was false, then the else isn't going to check anything. It should never have a condition. It's just automatically going to run. All right, everybody, hydrate. Macte, thank you for the hydration for all of us. Cheers to you. You're really kind of getting your money's worth today when you use your channel points. That's all I'm going to say. Like, if you're ever going to use your channel points, today's the day. Like, you're getting hundreds of folks, because you should be hydrating right now. Hundreds of folks to hydrate at the same time. Oh, I should have. Cuban gave us 2 more hydrations, 3 more hydrations, 4 more hydrations, 5 hydrations from Cuban, a hydration from Will, 6, 7, another hydration from Code and Chill, a hydration from Jimmy. So what is that? Let's say that's 8 hydrations. I done fucked up. That's what just happened. All right, let's do hydrations. Let's do 8. Daddy Yankee. That's great. That's great. You know what the funny thing is? Daddy Yankee has been here for 4 months with Jeff Bezos, his buddy. So this isn't new. Daddy Yankee's been here with us since the beginning. Since the beginning. Daddy Yankee just told you to do your Anki and to learn your JavaScript. That's hilarious. All right, we got 8 hydrations to go. And I missed something else, but I'm going to find it in a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you for the hydrations. Cheers to you all. And I believe we had a stretch. And I got to find it real quick. We had a stretch from blah, blah, blah. So everybody, let's do a stretch real quick. Do a stretch. And you know what? Since we're all going to do a stretch, let's take our break too. Let's just do it here. If we're able to stretch, please do it. Gonna put a 5-minute timer on. Let's go and put this over here. 5 minutes on the clock, folks. Do what you need to do. Refill your drinks because the hydrations are coming in, folks. You got 2 stretches to get in. You got one from blah, 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 one from nasty. We got 2 stretches. Make sure you refill your water. Take 5 minutes. And we'll be back here to continue with our conditionals. See you all soon. We'll put some music on. And as you know, it's not that kind of stream. So I will be right back. I'm also going to grab some water, so I'll be away from the alerts. Be right back. Oh, yeah. Alrighty. Three minutes, folks. 3 minutes. Make sure you refilled your water. Make sure you got your stretches in. Thank you for the stretches. All right. Tony, what's the weather in Miami like? How cold is it? You're like, it's 65. All right, Chris. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's get some fun questions while folks are stretching, getting their water, doing what they got to do. Give me a fun question. Give me some fun questions here while we wait. Be back to 65 in late January. Laughs in Canadian. Can we get some BTTV emotes in here? Favorite Jedi. Oh. Favorite Jedi. I've like read a lot about the Jedis. So like I've read a lot about them. And there is like there's like the female Jedi Master, like the close one. I'm blanking what the name was. I thought that was a pretty cool story. Let me. I'm gonna answer that later. I have to go back and reread Wikipedia. But there's this one that had such a ballin' story, had such an amazing story. That was my favorite. I'm just blanking on their name right now. So I'll find it again and I'll share it next stream. My favorite Pokemon character, Bulbasaur. All day long. You never forget your first, right? Bulbasaur was my first. Blasted through Brock, destroyed Misty, did alright with Lieutenant Surge. There's nothing better than Bulbasaur in Pokemon Blue. Garchomp was my first shiny I ever caught in game. Thought I was the only one. Everyone's all about Charmander. Bulbasaur's life. I do find Charmander to be like, I think it's definitely the most popular, and then Charizard seems to be the most popular with folks. Squirtle though. Cynthia beat my ass with her Garchomp. Yeah. Suma, we're opening it on Saturday, and it is Bedrock, so more folks can play. I have also been testing a Java one, so I think we're gonna have 2 actually, and then whatever one gets more use is the one that we're gonna like build out and invest more into. Alrighty, folks, come on back. Nox, yeah. I'm gonna call 4 potential real clients. Hopefully one sticks. Would you show me some contracts I can use? Yes. Tuesday's class is all that. Tuesday's class is all like looking at contracts. It's looking at how to get clients and stuff like that. So Tuesday class will have everything that you will need. We lost Rockefeller. I'm so disappointed in you being a Bulbasaur fan. Yeah, we had a few people leave stream when they found out Bulbasaur was my starter. And you know what? I always pick grass starters. I don't care what game it is. It's always grass starters. They're just the best. No way around it. Wow. A lot of folks don't like that one. Grass tastes bad. Alrighty, folks. Come on back. Hope you, I've refilled my water. I'm ready for the hydrations. I'm ready for the stretching. I'm asking you all to do it with me. Turquito12, thank you for the 2 months. Appreciate you being here. I want to switch it to like Jeff Bezos diving into like a pile of money. I gotta find a GIF or make one. Alrighty, folks, let's go through this. I'm gonna kill the music here. Let's keep going. All right, so here's an example, but I am going to modify this a little bit. Let's pretend that this was a lowercase d. Lowercase d. What would get printed to the console? Remember, the console, whenever you're in the browser, you can right-click, inspect, and the console is right here. This is what I mean by the console. So in this example, what's getting printed to the console if there's a lowercase d in Domino's? Interesting. Let's look through it. Oh, is that another hydration? It was. Nasty. Thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Everyone get a nice little first hydration back. If you saw Leprechaun, say, yeah, thank you for the bits. Thank you for the bits. So let's look at this. Pizza, of course, is not Papa John's. So this is false. So we go to the else if. In this case, since it's a lowercase d, pizza does not equal Domino's in this case. So since it's false, our else automatically runs. And printed to the console will be, what are you even doing with your life? Right? Oh, Rossi, thank you for the 4 months. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I love that somebody created that account for the bits. That's hilarious. Thank you, Arasi. I appreciate the foremost and the RC support for sure. All right. So yeah, here's that else condition at play, right? Here's the else at play. Since this was false, right? Since this was false, and this was false since it was lowercase, the else auto runs. It doesn't need to check anything. It just runs. Wait a minute. Did somebody create the that account just for bingo? Wait, is that in bingo? That'd be hilarious. That's like, I have to say, like, I'm going to say the name. And so if you just make an account to win bingo, that's big brain right there. If that's what happened. Flux Quantum, thank you for the bits. Alyssa, thank you for the bits again. All right. What's the chat real quick? Everyone in chat. What's the danger of assignment versus comparison, chat? Assignment versus comparison. Yeah, you can get into reassignment. If you're trying to do a comparison inside of conditionals, right? If you're trying to look at conditionals and you use one equal sign, right? You use one equal sign instead of 2 or 3, that is assignment. You're going to run into some errors if you do that. So always check. If you're trying to compare, you're going to have 3. All right. So here we have multiple conditions. In this case, I'm checking multiple things. Whenever you see the double ampersand, that is and. It means that both of these cases, both on the left and the right, must be true for this to run. So name is Leon, check. Status equals ballin, check. You wink at the camera, right? So name is Leon and status equals ballin. You wink at the camera. Boom. We can have or. In this case, only one side needs to be true, right? Only one side needs to be true. Either the day is Saturday or the day is Sunday, and we know it's the weekend, right? Surat, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Woo, we hit that hype train for sure. We hit hype trains so quickly. I love it. Thank you so much, everyone. Like that's not normal. Like the number of hype trains we hit is not normal. That's wild. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Surat. Thank you for the 5 gifted subs. That's 40 in the channel so far. Wow. Thank you. All right. Let's take a look quickly at class weekend or boring day. Let's run through it together. If you're new and you want the starter code that we're using, go ahead and do ! or now, as you know, bang Discord in chat. When you do bang Discord in chat, it'll take you to our Discord community, agree to the rules, and then you'll have access to the follow along materials channel where the actual zip folder will be there for you. So go ahead and grab that zip file, unzip it, and you'll have all the starter code. Imagine if Daddy Bezos would make you partner. We got to stream more to make partner. We have everything we need to hit partner. I just need to do more streams. All right. Big Thunker, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. If you saw a leprechaun say, yeah, thank you for the bits. I saw it coming a little early. All right, let's go and take a look at the class weekend boring day. So here we have a lot of things that are moving here, a lot of parts, a lot of Lego blocks for us to take a peek at, okay? So let's take a look at these Lego blocks here. We have our Smurf or our event listener at the top, and we have our function or our set of instructions, right? Now, I'm not really worried about, function keyword, parentheses, color versus, I don't care about that right now. For now, all I want to know is that this is how I listen for clicks, and this is how I run my instructions. And so what's going to happen here is that there's going to be a click And then all this stuff in here is going to run. All right. All right. I'm going to click, and then this other stuff is going to run. That's all we're worried about. It's going to click, and all this stuff is going to run. Let's take a look at it in the browser. There we go. Let's put in a day of the week. It makes it a little bit bigger so we can see. I'm going to open up my console, inspect. Let's look at the console here, and let's type in a day of the week. Let's put in Thursday, since it is Thursday. Click check. Boom. Boring. What? This is not boring. Today's class. What? Why is it saying boring? Let's go ahead and take a look. All right. So here's my button. This button has the ID of check. This is the thing I am actually like clicking on. I don't know if you can hear that. That's me clicking. All right. That's clicking. So I'm clicking on the button. And when I click on the button, it's going to grab the value that's in this input. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. When I click on, right, if we look, it has the ID of check. Has the ID of check. That button that I'm actually clicking on has the ID of check. So when I click on that button, this set of instructions called check is going to run. That's what's happening there. Click on that button, that set of instruction check is going to run. And now I'm going to thank you for the bits. Okay. So here's that set of instructions. And the very first thing I do is I go ahead and I look in the DOM. Remember, the DOM is the rendering. Everything we see in the browser is that DOM. I'm looking in the DOM, and I'm looking for something specifically that has the ID of day. Chat, what has the ID of day here? What has the ID of day for me? What has that? What has the ID of day? The input, exactly. So we're looking inside the input and we're grabbing the value out of that input. Right now, the value that is inside this input is capital T Thursday. It's capital T Thursday. So the funny thing is that we've went into that input. We've gotten the value out, which is capital T Thursday. But chat, what did we do with that value? We went into the input. We got the value of capital T Thursday. But what did we do with it? What in this instant, on this line, what did I do with that value that I got out of the input? Exactly. Bugaboo, K-coughs, DL, you got it. I assigned it to the variable day. So I created this new space in memory, this new bucket. And in that bucket, I put the value, which in this case is capital T Thursday. Then I move on. Now I can use that bucket. Does capital T Thursday equal Tuesday? No. Does capital T Thursday equal lowercase Thursday? No. It doesn't equal, because capital T versus lowercase t is not the same. Since they're not the same, that is false. We move on to the else if. Does Thursday equal Saturday? No. Does Thursday equal Sunday? No. So the else auto-magically runs. And that's why we got boring. Oh, Reset, thank you for the sub. Appreciate it. Thank you for being here. Right? That's why we got boring. So the trick we learned last class was that JavaScript comes with this really cool helper method. A method is just a set of instructions built into JavaScript. Something that JavaScript comes with that we can use, and we can just do dot to lower case. So now what's going to happen is we're going to get that value out of the input and immediately make every single letter in it lowercase. Okay. So now when we come back, let me save this. When we go back and we refresh and I do capital T Thursday and I click check, we get you have class, because 2 lowercase took that capital T and made it lowercase. Manny said, are methods like a pre-written function that we can just use like a keyword for? At start, yes, you can think of them as like something that are pre-written into JavaScript. Methods are typically tied to something called objects, which is a little bit advanced for where we're at now. But for right now, you could think about methods that we're using, like that parse int that we saw at the beginning of class, the 2 lowercase, even things like add event listener and query selector. These are all methods, things that are built into JavaScript for us to start using. Because here, look, this blew my mind. I used JavaScript for the longest time, and this one thing blew my mind. And we're going to actually see it later today in class. When we start covering functions in detail, we're going to see this. But the pattern keeps happening. Look at this pattern. Keyword, parentheses. Keyword, parentheses. Keyword, parentheses. I used JavaScript for months before I noticed, wait a minute, I'm doing the same pattern over and over and over again. And what we're going to notice today, what we're going to get to, what we're building up to at the end of class today, is realizing that they are all what we call function calls. Every single time you see that like name or that word or that keyword followed by parentheses, you're telling JavaScript to run a set of instructions. You're telling JavaScript to do some sort of action. And we're just reusing that same pattern over and over and over again. We look at it, console log, same thing. Wait a minute, there's a name followed by parentheses. They're all functions, always has been, right? And then eventually next week, and when we get a little bit further, we're going to learn about objects, and we're going to realize that literally every single thing in JavaScript is an object. And once I realized that I'm just dealing with a bunch of instructions, a bunch of functions, and a bunch of objects, and that's all that JavaScript really is, I was just sitting there like my mind had been literally blown, right? And so that's why I'm asking you to play with the patterns, to just look at it, play with it, because you might start to realize, wait a minute, I keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And at the end of tonight's class, I'm going to break down that pattern that you've been seeing and using so that it makes sense. Okay. All right. So we got this one under wraps. We did this one before. It's working now. I would ask when you come back and you redo this on your own, add an extra conditional, change it, make it do something else. Maybe instead of a day, make it do a month. Maybe make this a horoscope picker, right? Make this a horoscope checker. Somebody can put in like the date or that they were born and it could give them their horoscope or something like that. Play with it, bend it, break it, do it on your own, right? Boom. Change it up. Mastermind, hey, there you go. Glad you're here. Happy to have you. Cool. Let's keep moving, folks. More to review. Let's look at that angry parent simulator. Let's see it all over again. I'm going to close these two. Hey, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for the gifted subs. I appreciate you. How's everything going on your end? And it comes right back. Thank you, Sabotage. Thank you for gifting them the sub. Cool. Let's bring up the Angry Parent Simulator. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look at this. We got some fun stuff happening here. Once again, we're going to see that same pattern again. That same event listener. That same, we're taking a Smurf, we're putting it on the thing that we're going to click on. Let's go ahead and take a look at that in the browser. There we go. We have our same button that we're going to click, and same thing that's sitting there is going to hear that click, right? Hear that click, and then start to do these sets of instructions, right? So let's go ahead and take a peek. We know that we're going to, when we hear that click, we're going to do this sets of instructions, and the set of instructions that we have here are going to do the same thing kind of over and over again. We're going to look in the DOM, and we're going to grab the value out of the DOM. We're going to look in the DOM again and grab another value. And each time, chat, each time we grab a value out of the DOM, what are we doing with it? Chat, what are we doing with each value that we grab? Snitching Smurfs. We're doing an assignment. Exactly. We're storing them in a variable to use later on. We're doing assignment. I love it. We're doing assignment. We're taking those values and putting them into a variable so we can use it later on. And then down here on line 13, we're actually using them, right? We're going into the DOM. We're finding the thing that has the place to yell ID. Let's take a look at it. We have this H2 that has the place to yell, right? That H2 that has the ID place to yell. We're going to put something in there, right? We're going to put something in there. And the thing we're going to put in there are all those variables that we've been holding on to. So the first name goes in there. The second name goes in there. The middle name goes in there. The last name goes in there. We're plugging them all in. And then we're using inner text to put this string into place to yell. All right. Now, anybody remember from last class what this is called? Something new with the lovely ES6. What is this called, chat? Why aren't we doing this old school concatenating everything? Yeah, it's a template string, template literal. Nice, well done. Also, everyone, we have a hydrate. Come on and hydrate with me. Dragonoid, thank you for the hydration. Cheers to you. Everyone, grab your water. Let's hydrate. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Cool. So what we did is when that click was heard, what we did is we grabbed the value out of this input. We grabbed the value out of this input. We grabbed the value out of this input. We grabbed the value out of this input, and we stored them all in variables. Then once I had all these variables holding all those values, I took all those values and I plugged them into, using inner text, I plugged them back into the DOM so that we could see them. That's all I did. I plugged them back in. And I used that fancy template literal to save me some time, not have to worry about the spacing, because we saw the old way. We saw the old way last class. We don't need to do it that way anymore. Imran, thank you for the hydration. Everyone, let's get a hydration going. Thank you. Appreciate you. Cheers to you. All right, so let's check it. Let's see it in action. Bob, Bobber, Bobson, Bob Tom Sum. I don't know. I gotta remember the one we did last time. And I click yell, and there we go. We got Bob, Bobber, Bobson, Bob Thompson. Bobbity, that's it, Bugaboo. It was Bobbity. Forgot about that. There we go. And last class we saw it. I showed you how I used the speech synthesis to actually make it say it out loud, right? to say it out loud. You can always run that back on your own if you would like to. But the idea here is that we're able to still have our event listeners. We're able to get stuff out of inputs, and we're able to plug stuff back into the DOM. Those are three very key building blocks that make up the basis of what we call DOM manipulation. Like the ability to change what you see here in this rendering. The ability to listen for events, get stuff out, and put stuff in is fundamental. So even if you're hung up on, wait a minute, I don't understand the dot value, or why do we, don't get caught up in that. Get caught up in the bigger concept here. If you ever want to listen for a click, you can use this. If you ever want to get a value out of the DOM, you can do this. If you ever want to put something into the DOM, you can use this, right? And so you want to start building up your mental snippets library. Your mental snippets library, right? The little patterns that you have in your brain that enable you to do the things that you want to do early on in JavaScript. Now, these snippets shouldn't just be in your brain. Daddy Yankee, where are you at? Where should our snippets also might be going to right now? It should be going into our Anki deck. Exactly. These patterns that you're seeing over and over and over again, practice them and put them into your Anki, right? I would have putting stuff into the DOM with inner text in my Anki cards. I would have getting a value out of the input in my Anki cards. I would sure as heck, we've seen it in pretty much every exercise we've done, have event listeners in my Anki deck. And remember, Anki, spaced repetition, is an everyday thing. Don't make me play Jake Paul in here. Please don't make me do it. But it's an everyday thing, bro. Every single day, you got to be keeping up your Anki. Don't come to me in 2 weeks and be like, Leon, JavaScript isn't making sense. And then when I ask you to show me the receipts and pull up your Anki deck, and you're like, oh, actually, I haven't touched Anki in a week. Nah. We draw the line at The Bachelor. Nah, it's not going to fly. It's not going to fly. In 2 weeks, when you're sending me a DM, it's not clicking, and I ask you to show me your Anki deck, and you're like, nah. Delete. Moving on. Not going to happen. Diabolical. I feel the power. I so want to time out Diabolical for going, what's Anki? So want to do it. My fingers are itching to click. I can feel the power coursing through my veins. And Pork's like, do it. He's like, I don't want to be the only one. All right. So these patterns must be in your Anki. Must. And you must be doing it. If you haven't been doing Anki every day, here's your reminder. Please get your spaced repetition in. We're going to keep adding more and more complexity, more and more syntax. If you're starting to struggle remembering the patterns, that's what Anki's for. Don't think it's magically going to happen to you. Don't think that JavaScript's magically going to click. It's hard work for it to click. It's that spaced repetition that makes you feel comfortable with the bits and the patterns. Cool. Let's keep moving. All right, pseudocode. We talked a little bit about last class. I want to bring it up again. Before you start writing code, you want to write your pseudocode. Hold on, I got to find my duck. 1 second. I'll be right back. Not that kind of stream, folks. Oh my God, there's so much dog hair. Jeez. All right. Code and chill. I'm craving some Domino's. We need like a Domino's button. That's what I'm doing. All break. That's what I'm working on. All break. I'm working on a Domino's button. When somebody redeems, like I don't know, like 30,000 channel points, I have a button on my stream deck. The green screen drops. The party lights come on. The Domino's boxes drop, and we have a Domino's party. So that's what we're going to do. All right. Here's my duck. When I am ever getting ready to code something, no matter how simple, no matter how hard, it's all gray looking because of the green screen. I write my pseudocode first. Duck, do I write my pseudocode? Yes, he does. And when I'm really stuck and I really don't know how to start, and the duck's not giving me anything, I get my homie. He's too cool. He doesn't want to pull the hat up. I talked to my homie. I talk to Bob more than I talk to my wife. That's fact. It's a fact. Because every day when I'm coding, I'm talking to Bob. Sometimes the duck's not enough. Sometimes I need somebody that gets me. Somebody that understands me. That's been there since the beginning. Bob's that. And I tell Bob, I don't understand how I'm going to go about this code, but I'm going to talk it out. I'm going to explain to you what needs to Bob looks faded. Bob's been hitting the Bulbasaur, if you know what I'm saying. That's a fire name for a strain. Patent it. That's mine. Nobody steal that. Nobody steal that. So sometimes the duck's not enough. Sometimes I need to talk it out a little bit longer. Sometimes I need to say, all right, here's exactly what I'm going to do in plain English. I talk to myself in plain English. All right, I want to do this. Then I want to do that. And then after that, I'm going to do this. And I talk it out. My hands are not on my keyboard. I'm literally talking to Bob. Bob's a little faded today, but normally Bob's up. Right? Normally Bob's ready to give me some to be the sounding board. And so what I want y'all to do as we start getting into deeper, harder problems, talk out your code in plain language. Don't get hung up on the syntax, especially early on. You all need a Bob. You need somebody that you're going to talk through your code with. Right? And so I'm going to put Bob down. Don't start any coding assignment that I give you for the rest of this program. Right? Don't start any coding assignment I give you for the rest of this program without at least verbalizing your pseudocode first. When you're first starting out, you should be typing out, right? You should be typing out your pseudocode. Because as we saw last class, when you're typing out your pseudocode, you can use those as comments early on, right? You can use that pseudocode as comments to guide you to think through all right, here's the steps I'm going to take, all right? So we talked about a temperature converter, and then your homework was to do the opposite. We did Celsius to Fahrenheit, and then your homework was Fahrenheit to Celsius. We talked through the pseudocode for a temperature converter. And the pseudocode was, well, if I want to convert a temperature, chat, what's the first thing we're going to need? If we're going to convert a temperature, what's the first thing we need, chat? If we're going to convert a temperature, the first thing we need is a temperature, right? It's not rocket surgery. I'm not trying to trick you here. If we're going to convert a temperature, the first thing we need is a temperature. right? And notice how I didn't say an input or a value. Like these are all like true, like that's all things. But when I start using words like input and value, that means I'm thinking a little too much about JavaScript and not enough about what needs to happen, right? That's kind of something I listen for. It's something that my duck points out. It's something that Bob's like, yo, Leon, you're hitting that Bulbasaur a little too much. Stop talking in JavaScript. Speak to me. Talk to me, right? Give me the real. Like don't use those made up words. Don't say you're going to manipulate the DOM and grab the value out of them. I don't understand that. I'm a mannequin. I don't understand JavaScript. Say it in plain English. All right. So when I'm talking about temperature converter, I'm going to say, all right, if I'm going to convert a temperature, right? If I'm going to convert a temperature, I need a temperature. That's it. Like I can't convert a temperature if I don't have a temperature. And then once I have a temperature, what do I want to do with it? Well, if I'm creating a temperature converter, chat, what am I going to do once I have a temperature? Convert it. Exactly. I'm going to do some quick maths. Oh man. Next stream we're adding Big Shaq just so that we can have him like come on and say quick maths for us. We're going to see if we can get him. All right. We're going to do the maths, right? We're going to do the maths. And once we've done the conversion math, what's the last thing we need to do? Plain English, plain language. What do we need to do? We had a temperature, we converted it, show it, yell it, display it, right? Spit it out. That's the pseudocode for a temperature converter. And so for every project I give you, before you start thinking in terms of JavaScript or the values, think through it in plain language, okay? Then once you've thought through in plain language, that's your first pass, then come back and be like, all right, well, how am I going to get a temperature? Well, I'm going to get a value out of an input. That's when we bring the JavaScript. The first pass is plain language. The second pass, all right, now let's be a little bit more realistic. All right, be a little more realistic. All right, so now how am I going to get the temperature? Well, they put in an input, right? So I can get the value out of the input. Cool. So I'm gonna get the value out of the input, and I don't want that input to just like, I don't want that value to just like disappear. So I'm gonna take that value and I'm gonna put it into a variable. And I could probably do that all on one line because I've seen that pattern. That pattern's in my Anki deck of getting a value out of an input and putting it into a variable. Cool. Next, I am going to do some quick maths on that variable and store that result in probably another variable. Cool. And the last thing I want to do is take that variable and put it back into the DOM, put it to display it, to show it. All three of those pieces are things that are in my Anki deck that I have seen, right? And so it should come to you once you write out your pseudocode. All right. Will a grown-up see our pseudocode at our future jobs? Yeah, I mean, if you like, you're going to see a lot of pseudocode as you go through. All right. Chat, what's the best TV show of all time? The Bachelor. All right. Wolfgang Suits Frasier. I next time we do this, next time I ask this question, I'm gonna get Alyssa and Okayla to help me time out everyone that says something else than The Bachelor. So just know it's coming. All right, we had a stretch from Wolfgang. Wolfgang, thank you for the stretch. Everyone, if you're able, please stretch. Not that kind of stream. You know how to get my OnlyFans. Oh yeah. Nice. Come on back. That was a good one. That was a good one. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look at the bachelor code. I'm going to go ahead and open that up. Let's look at number 1 and the JavaScript. All right. Let's open it in the browser so we can see it. And then I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. Chat. Very important question. Who is this? Let's get that spaced repetition going. Chat, who's that? Your second wife. That is indeed Charlene. Chat, who's this? Claire, lovely. And who is this? Nikki. All right, there we go. Glad we got that the important stuff out the way. This should definitely be in your Anki deck, for sure. All right, what I want to have happen is when I click on final rows, I unfortunately want Claire, and I can't bring myself to put an X. I'll put the X over here. We unfortunately want Charlene to go away, and we only want Nikki to remain because Nikki is the one that got the final rows, even though Juan Pablo did not propose bars, right? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock. You're going to make this JavaScript work. Actually, we're going to do a 1 minute speed run because we've already done this. 1 minute speed run. Go ahead. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Go. If you're new and you would like the starter code to follow along, go ahead and do ! Discord and chat. Once you agree to the rules, you will get access to our follow along materials channel. In that channel, there will be the starter code that we're using today. Your Adam crashed. Oh no. I love all the dones immediately. Done, 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 done. Ooh, Anvi with the hydration. As you finish, please go ahead and get a hydrate in. Done, may I please have another? All right. Cool, let's go back. All right, let's take a look at this. So we have our event listener, and this one should be pretty easy to suss out here. The only set of instructions we have is hide. So we're going to go ahead and put hide here, just so that when we click on the idea final rows, it runs these hide instructions. And to get Nikki and Charlene to hide, we're going to look at their images, and the Claire image has, we want Claire and Charlene to hide. Claire has the ID of Claire. Charlene has the ID of Charlene. So let's go ahead and put those into action. Claire. And unfortunately, Charlene. Cool. Let's save this. And let's make sure it works. Let's refresh. I'm going to go ahead and click 3, 2, 1. And there we go. Claire and Charlene went away. And the reason that this works is because we have said, all right, find the image that has the ID of Claire, change its style. Like we're actually manipulating the style to be display none. And so that removes the element from the page order. It removes it from the DOM so that we cannot see it and it does not take up space. And we're doing that for both Claire and Charlene. And it looks like we got a lot of first try. All right, first try. That's definitely a emote. When we come back from break, we're definitely going to have a first try emote. All right. Let's look at the next one. All right, this one's a little bit more tricky. So let's open it in the browser and see what we got. Oh no, must have done something wrong. Come back on Saturday and we'll help you if you're having some trouble with things not working or not loading. Share your stuff on Saturday and we'll work through any of the errors you might be having. If you're having errors with the last one, always check the console. Right click, inspect. And when you check the console, you're going to see that there's some errors, right? Right now, since we haven't filled stuff in, there's an error on this one. And so always check your console to see if there's an error, if things aren't working. All right, the next bachelorette obviously should have been Charlene, but that's not what happened. But I want to give the choice to you. So when you click on Andy, I want it to hide anyone that's already on the screen and show Andy. But when you click Andy the second time, I want her to go away. And I want that same pattern for Claire and Charlene. So if you click them, it shows their photo. If you click again, it removes it. And if they're up there, the other two go away. Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to put 2 minutes on the clock for this one because there's a little bit more stuff to do. And then we're going to go over it. And then the third one we haven't done, so that's going to be fun. Go, 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 go. You got this. You got this. Done already. Go for Mitch. Yes, I love to see the done so quickly because that means that the spaced repetition is working. Dragonoid done. Mayu Dreamstar done. Nice. Yeah, Alyssa said it right. Make sure you didn't accidentally do a typo or put something where it shouldn't have been. Always check the console to make sure there's no errors. Is there a way to add hidden right at the top and then toggle in the functions? Absolutely, you could do that. You could up here. Well, you'd want to do like Andy.toggle class hidden. You wouldn't want to do it on the variable because the variable up here is just so that we store that element in the name. Soleil, done. Love it. K-Cos with the Dunzo. The Heart of Missy, done. Nice. Mine, done. Crush, done. Sabotage, done. Sheenan, done. Jazzy Girl, done. Jen, done. Nice. Look at all these folks coming in. 30 seconds left. Dig deep, make it work. And the next one's gonna be a little bit more tricky, so we'll spend a little more time on the next one, but we've seen this one last class. Alrighty. Try doing it that way and it kept all the images hidden no matter what. Share your code. Yeah, feel free to share your code with me on Discord. All right, folks, let's come back. Let's look at this together. I'm gonna kill the music here. Boom. All right, let's take a look. Up here, chat, what am I doing up here? These first 3 lines, somebody in chat, tell me what I did here. This saved me a lot of time. What did I do here on these first 3 lines? I did declare variables, and what did I put in those variables? Ooh, blah, blah, blah said it exactly. I saved those elements as variables. So what the heck does that mean? I saved those elements as variables. Look, let's look. Document.querySelector Andy. If I go ahead and look, that's going to be this image right here. So instead of having to constantly say document.querySelector Andy over and over and over, look how many times I'm going to need to do that down here. Instead of having to do that over and over again, I kept my code a little bit drier. And I said, hey, grab this element and store it in the name Andy. So we've seen that you can put numbers into variables. We saw that you can put strings into variables, but you can also put DOM elements into our variables. And that's wild. That's going to save us a lot of time. Okay. The next thing I did here is what? Chat. What did I do here? What did I set up? What did I set up? What did I set up? Hey, this is the new move. All the kids are doing it. Ready? Watch me. Ready? Hold on. I gotta step back so you can see. Hold on. Hey, come get it. Hey, it's the event listeners, right? It's our Smurfs. It's our snitches. We're setting them up. All right, that was smooth. That's what you get. The OnlyFans, smooth content. I promise you, it's smooth. It's just not weird sex stuff. It's dancing. It's entertainment. You want the OnlyFans. All right? Only 1 million channel points and it's yours. Or you buy the bikini in the next drop. And when somebody unlocks it, you also get it. Coming your way soon. Luck Monkey said. But also weird sex stuff? Of course. It would be OnlyFans without it. All right. So we set up our event listeners here. And so you'll notice that we have our sets of instructions. All right. We have our sets of instructions here. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that when the event listener is heard, we run the right set of instructions. So here's Andy next, which is this set of instructions here. Then we have Claire next. Cool. Which is running this set of instructions down here. And then the last one is Charlene next. Charlene should have been first. Charlene next. Boom. All right. So now we've set up our variables so we don't have to keep redoing stuff. All right. We set up our event listener so we can hear those clicks. All right. Simba, yes, of course. We set up our event listeners. That's of course what we're doing, Simba. Great. Well done. And then let's start taking a peek inside of our functions. He is not happy over something. He's like, I just can't take these. I can't take this bachelor code anymore, Leon. All right. Next, let's look at this function. We're missing some stuff. So when we click on Andy next, when we click on it, we want to add a specific class to Charlene and Claire. We want to add a specific class. If we look, we saw that the reason why the images weren't showing up at first is that they all had this hidden class. And in the CSS, that hidden class gave them the display none. Right? Displayed none. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and when we click on Andy, add that hidden class. We want to add that hidden class to Claire because we know that we want Claire to go away. And we want to add that hidden class to Charlene because we know we want her to go away. But we want to toggle it on Andy so we get this behavior. We want to toggle that class on Andy so we get this behavior. Let me comment out the rest of the stuff down here so it doesn't throw an error. But we want to see this behavior when we click on Andy. You ready? All right. We just removed the hidden class from Andy. All right. We removed it. And if I click on again, we add the hidden class to Andy. Let's go ahead and open up the console so we can see what's happening here. The inspector. Let's take a look at these images. And you can see right now, Andy has this class of hidden. Nope, too far. I was gonna try and eat it. I couldn't. It's getting wild. It's been a little too late. There we go. We have this class of hidden. I didn't know how far my green screen went. We have this class of hidden. Let's keep an eye on it. We have this class. Take a walk outside. we got a little preview. Y'all nasty. We got this class of hidden here. And watch what happens when I click on Andy. Boom, hidden goes away. Click on Andy again, comes back. So when I click on Andy, what I'm doing is I'm removing that class. And if it doesn't have it, I'm adding it. That's what toggle does. If it has it, it removes it. If it doesn't have it, it adds it. Now, the other interesting thing is that every single time I'm clicking Andy, what am I also doing? Every single time I click Andy, what am I also doing? Every single time. We don't see it. We don't see anything happening. But exactly, go for Mitch. Every single time I click on Andy, I'm also adding hidden to Claire and Charlene. Now, it's not doing anything in this moment. I'm not doing anything to it. But look what happens when we add the other thing. Right now, even though I'm clicking Andy and I'm adding hidden each time, we don't see it. But we are adding hidden each time to both of them. It just already has that class. So we don't see anything changing, but we are adding that class, right? Let's go ahead and clean up the rest of our code so we can see that in action a little bit. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all of these at the same time. Just going to hold down my lovely command here, Control if you're on Windows or GNU Linux. And then do hidden because we know we want all these to be hidden. And then down here for Claire, I want Charlene to be hidden. And I want Andy to be hidden. And Claire to toggle. Cool. And then down here, I want Claire to be hidden. And I want Andy to be hidden. But Charlene, I want to toggle. Now we'll be able to see it. Let's go back and take a look. Let's refresh. Take a look at these images. Let me click on Charlene first. Here we go. All right, we notice that Charlene doesn't have the class hidden. Look what happens when I click on. You're looking right there, right? You're looking at those classes. Look what happens when I click on Andy. Boom. Charlene gets the hidden class, and Andy has the hidden class removed, right? Right? We added it to Charlene and toggled it on Andy. Let's take a look at that again. I need you to look at these two locations. Let's look right here. When I click on Andy, 3, 2, 1. Charlene got the class hidden and Andy had it toggled off. Okay, so let's look at that JavaScript. Whoop. I went ahead and I clicked on Andy. So here's my event listener for clicking on Andy. It ran these sets of instructions. Right? Ran these sets of instructions. And the first instruction I did is I added hidden to Claire. Well, Claire already had hidden, so nothing happened. But the next thing I did is I added hidden to Charlene. And since Charlene didn't have hidden, it added it to it, and that's what got Charlene out the way. So every single time I click on Andy, since I know I never want Claire or Charlene to be visible, I'm going to add hidden every time. Just in case. And then the last thing I'm doing is toggling Andy. Why am I not using remove? I'm not using remove because I want this to happen. I want to be able to hide and show Andy. And if I just did remove, I would also then have to code add. So I'd have to have like some conditional logic for toggle, right? I would have to say like, if Andy has the class hidden, right? Then remove it. But if Andy doesn't have the class hidden, add it. I would need like conditional logic to do that. come back on Saturday and I will show you that conditional logic that Toggle does for us. I think that'd be a fun thing to show on Saturday. We'll do that actual conditional logic that Toggle does for us. Cool. All right, let's look at this last one. This last one's tricky. It's hard. Don't worry if it doesn't make sense. We're going to go through it anyway. Juanita George, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you with the 2 months. Thank you so much. All right, let's take a look at the last one here, and then we're going to take a little break, and then we're going to come back and do our functions. I'm really excited to get into these functions, folks. All right, here, this one's a doozy. Just mentally prepare yourself. This one's a doozy. Just know that we're getting there. All right, we're getting there. Let's open it in the browser. Chat, who got the final rows? All right, I'm banning everyone that gets it. Not banning, I'm kicking everyone that gets this wrong. Let's see. All right, go for Mitch. Timeout. Bleeby, timeout. No, I'm just joking. Leon did. Oh, thank you, Nasty. Y'all got the final rose in my heart. Nikki did, right? Who are these people? Nikki got the final rose. And so what I want to have happen here is if I click on Nikki, since she did receive the final rose, I want it to show her photo. And if I click on Claire, I want it to tell me that I was wrong. All right, Nikki, yes, show the photo. Claire, I was wrong. So if we go ahead and take a look, there's something interesting in the HTML. Both Claire and Nikki have the class of contestant, but only one of them also has the class of rows. So they are alike in that they both have the class contestant. They are different in that only one has the class rows. So let's go ahead and take a look at my JavaScript here. Now, we haven't seen this yet, but there is something called query selector all. Just like query selector can select one element, query selector can help us grab all the elements. Okay, so that's something to keep in mind. Then this line of code here, please, for the love of all that is holy, don't try to understand it. Just know that this is going to add a Smurf to every single thing that's inside of contestants. All right, it's just going to add a Smurf. It's going to add multiple event listeners at the same time. And then here's the instructions that are going to run. What we want to do is we want to put a Smurf on every contestant. And then when they are clicked, we want to check whether or not the thing that we clicked has rows. Because if it has rows, then we want to toggle Nikki's photo. And if it doesn't, we want to alert wrong. This is weird. This is hard. This has a lot of next level shit that we have not even come close to touching yet, but I want you to try. So we're going to put, let's say 2 minutes on the clock here, just for you to try. And then we're going to go over it together. 8 minutes. Actually, let's do 3, just in case folks want to play with it a little bit longer, in case they get tripped up and they want to try a little thing. Let's do 3 minutes. There we go. How about it? 3 minutes on the clock. Let's bring up some soothing music here. Man, we got folks done. Dak, I'm sweating. Wait, why does it say array and not document? Interesting. We're going to talk about that. Oh, while y'all are working, make sure you get your hydration in. Thank you for the hydration, Straight Jacket. Everybody take a sip of water. Thank you. Pi, you did it? That's awesome. Toolie D, you are right. We could. Possibly. Or maybe not. Would we get an error? Try it out. Cross, that's some good advice. This is a tricky one. This is a really hard one. This should not make any sense. This is some like next level stuff that if you're able to get, whoa. But I'm not expecting everyone to get this one. This is the seeing the code makes you scream type of one. Oh, Nox, yeah, with the first try. Love it. A doozy. It is. It's a doozy. All right. About a minute left, folks. Keep trying, keep digging, keep playing with it. You got this. Keep going. Dig deep. All right. Oh, look at all these dones. Pasta came in done. Yash came in done. Garrett done. Nice. Love to see it. Alrighty. 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. Alrighty. Come on back, folks. I have no idea what's going on, but I got it done. That's the energy that I want right now. I have no idea what's going on, but it works. That's great. That's where I want you to be. All right, let's take a look. Let's go over this together. Let me kill some of the music here. And then we're going to take a break. I promise to take a break. We'll take a break as soon as we get through this. And run with the hydration. Everyone get ready for the hydration. Cheers to you. Thank you so much. We'll take a break right after this. Alrighty, so we want to grab all the things that have this class contestant, right? They both have the class contestant. So let's go ahead and grab everything that has the class contestant. There we go. We're going to grab everything that has the class contestant. So now we have all these elements that are in contestants. Okay. Now what we're saying on this line, what we're saying is, hey, we have this structure in JavaScript that can hold multiple things. And that structure is called an array. All it is think of it as like a variable that can hold more than one thing. We're going to have a whole class, right? We're going to have a whole class, right? We're going to have a whole class on this, but just think of it as like a thing that can hold multiple. Think of it like a toaster with multiple slots. We have this thing that's holding now all of our contestants, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to go through each one of the things that have that class called contestant and add a Smurf. So instead of just doing it on one element, we're now adding it to every element that had that class contestant. So with this line, with these two lines of code, let's say we had 1,000 elements. Let's say we had 1,000 elements that all had the class contestant. All 1,000 of them now have a Smurf. That's what it did. Instead of us having to do them individually, one by one with IDs, we've just applied them to all. Now, it just so happens that there's only two, but this two lines of code can grow to cover any amount. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put check for rows. Check for rows. There we go. So what we're doing is we grabbed everything that had the class contestant. We put a Smurf on each one of them, listening for the click. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say, all right, all of this is saying is, hey, look at the thing we just clicked on. That's the target. The thing we just clicked on, look at it. The thing we just clicked on, check to see if it has a class of rows. check to see if the thing we just clicked on has the class of rows. Because if you look, this one does not have the class of rows. This one, however, does have the class of rows, right? So what we're checking for is, hey, the thing I just clicked on, that's the target, check to see if it has the class of rows. If it does, toggle the hidden class. If the thing we just clicked on does not have the class of rows and this is false, we want to alert wrong. All right, let's go ahead and take a look. We get wrong because Claire did not have the class of rows. And if we click on Nikki, we see her lovely photo. Ooh, that's a really great question. Why does query selector all need the period, yet rows and hidden does not? That's a really great question. Here, we are looking for an element of the DOM. We are looking for an element of, we are looking for an element of the DOM. So we're actually looking for something, right, that has either a class or an ID or just an element of itself. So we need the dot to tell it, hey, find the things that have the class. Down here, we've already said it's a class because we're using the class list here. We've already said it's a class, so we don't need to say again to let it know it's a class. We've already said it's a class. So that's a little bit of a difference there. Cool. So yeah, if you included that dot, it's going to throw an error for you and not work because you already said it's a class. Can you talk about what happens when you pass a parameter in the event function and what it can do? When you come on Saturday, we're going to talk about that because we haven't talked about functions yet. So we're going to take a break. And when we take a break, we'll come back and we're going to talk all about functions. And we're going to start talking about like what parameters are, what parameters are, what arguments are. We're going to talk about all of that so that we can bring it back to all the things that we've been doing. So let's take a 5-minute break. When we come back, we're going to learn about functions. We're going to get some lovely practice in, and then we're going to end the night. So let's do a 5-minute break. Gonna put some music on for us. Networking is due next Tuesday. I will ask for it on Tuesday. Time to grab some water, time to stretch, time to do what you need to do. You got 5 minutes. Come on back. I am going to skedaddle. I'll be right back in a minute. Be right back. You're learning. Nice. Oh yeah. All right, folks, hope you're getting a break in. Hope you're getting a break in. So I'm going to say, Chop, that we should focus on networking next week, because then we're going to have that break where you're not networking, right? And so I don't want to give an extra week of not networking, because we're getting ready to take the break where we won't. Mac, I'll get Simba on cam for you this Saturday for sure. $3D, you could, and so always feel like you should try it, right? Try and see if it works. Now, see, the thing with the adding directly to the query selector all is that the query selector all isn't just one element. So you often have a hard time adding something to all of them, and you have to loop through and add that thing to all of them, because it's not really it's not just an element anymore. It's a collection of elements, and that's where it gets a little tricky. So that's where, like, that's why I did that array thing here, and I went through and I did the for each to add it to all of them. But we'll definitely get more into that as we come back. So they all have an event listener here, because we looped through them with this for each, and this for each now gave an event listener to each of them. And then whenever that event listener is clicked on, it fires the check for rows. And that check for rows is this function here. But don't really get caught up in the semantics of this one or how it's actually working. We're not there yet. This is just, like I said, a fun thing for you to see, but we're going to learn a little bit, and then we're going to come back to it on Saturday. And it'll make a lot more sense once we get through functions and how they work. Yeah. Thanks. I feel like the light bulbs are turning on in my head. That's great to hear. Leon, what makes you decide to use query selector over get element by ID? Right now, to learn. Query selector is more flexible. You only have to learn one thing, and you can use it on IDs, classes, regular elements. And so I think it's better when you're learning to learn one thing that does it all than to learn three things that are more targeted. There are some things about speed and other things we have to take into consideration, but we're not there yet. We're just here to learn right now. Like I said, we'll get time for best practices down the line. Alrighty, folks. Hope you had a good break. Come on back. Come on back. Code and Chill, thank you for pushing me outside of my comfort zone. Hey, I love it. That's when we learn the most. All right, let's go ahead and cut off the music here, folks. Let's get back to it. One really important topic to finish up the evening. We got some hands-on practice we're going to bring us through in the last half hour. But before we get into functions, We Make Fun gave us that hydration. Everyone go ahead and take a sip for me, please. Boom. Drickety drink. Boom. All right, let's get into this. Chat, what are functions? If you did the reading, tell me what a function is. What's a function? I've even said what it is a couple of times today during class, but what's a function? If you did the reading, what's a function? Ooh, I love it. A set of instructions, a reusable code block, a set of instructions. I love it. An action. Yeah. Oh, baby. All right. Functions, flat out, are simple sets of instructions. A function typically referred to as the building blocks of a program. Like your program is going to be built up from these simple sets of instructions. So a function, just a set of instructions. That's why whenever we've been looking at our event listeners and all that stuff, I keep referring to them. All right, we click and then we do this set of instructions. Here is the basics of a function. When we're dealing with functions, we're going to deal with two very particular pieces. the function declaration, which we see up here, and the function call, which we see down here. Okay. Now, the function declaration is interesting. Function declaration. When you hear me say function declaration, there should be something that's triggering your mind about that word. Where have we heard that word before? And what has it meant when we've heard it before? Function declaration. In terms of JavaScript, yes, there are declarations in CSS. That is true. In terms of JavaScript, we've heard, coordinate. We've heard it when we declare a variable. When we declare a variable, what are we really doing, chat? When we declare a variable, what are we doing? What are we doing when we declare a variable? Not assignment, not yet. When we declare a variable, we're putting a bucket into memory, right? So like, let's step back for a second. We have memory up here, right? This is our memory. Oh yeah, look at that. Nuns are proud. We have memory. If I do let dog, I have created a special space in memory called dog. This is called declaring the variable. And so when I declare dog, I put that space into memory. So if I am calling this a function declaration, what do you think I'm doing, chat? What am I doing? If I'm calling this a function declaration, what do you think I'm doing? I am storing those sets of instructions into memory. I'm taking that function and I'm putting it into memory. And the reason why I'd want to put these sets of instructions into memory is so that I can reuse them over and over and over again. When I create a function or when I create a function declaration, what I am doing is I'm taking those sets of instructions and putting them into memory. And the reason why this is so important is because it enables me to do the same sets of instructions over and over again without having to rewrite them a bazillion times. Right? If I put a function into memory, I can just call it or run it, and it will do what I need it to do without me having to rewrite those instructions 20 bazillion times. So a function declaration takes those instructions and puts them into memory. That's all it does. Puts them into memory, and then we can reuse them over and over again. To use a function that you have put into memory, you must call it. Call it just means you're going to use that function that's in memory. All right. So Leon, myself, has a function in my memory called clap. All right. I have a function in my memory called clap. And I'm going to call it. You ready? Call clap. All right. I don't know if you saw that. That was some high speed stuff here. I have a function in my brain, in my memory called clap. All right, I'm going to call clap. Boom, did it. All right, going to call it again. Going to call it again. Going to call it again. Again. Right? I was able to call it over and over and over again. Right? I was able to reuse it over and over and over and over again. Now, each time I wanted to use it, I didn't have to write it all out. Okay. Let me show you a function that we've seen. Let's take a look at this function here. Look at this function. Andy next. Whenever this function was called, Claire got the class hidden, Charlene got the class hidden, and then Andy had the class hidden toggled. I can call Andy next over and over again. I could just sit here and do this. I can call it over and over again, and it would do those 3 steps 3 times in a row, right? It would do those 3 steps in a row. Ooh, Oscar with the hydration. Cheers to you. Everyone take a sip. It would do those 3 sets of instructions every single time we did it. So right now, this would have run 3 times, and these instructions would have ran 3 times, right? So it's wonderful to not have to do this. Instead of, I could be doing this, or I could be doing this, right? I could do this as well. I could do that, right? I could sit here and I could copy and paste that 3 times. This is not dry. This is repeating myself over and over again. This gets hard to read. I don't like this is gonna be too much if I have to make changes. I much rather do that, where I just have my function that has those instructions in it, right? That has those instructions in it, and just call them and have those instructions run whenever I want. So it's one line, exactly. It's one line of code to do whatever I want it to do. And that's going to speed up our programs, and it's going to be the building blocks that our programs rely on. Now, you have your function declaration, which is creating that set of instructions in memory. And then you have your function call. When you call a function, you can pass a value into it, right? When you call your function, you can pass a value in as you're calling it. You can pass it in, right? If you pass a value in while you're calling your function, you would call that value you passed in an argument. The way I remember this is I have a very healthy relationship with my mother, but I like to say this. Whenever I call my mom, I like to argue, right? That's how I remember my arguments. I call to argue. I call to argue, right? So whenever I am calling a function, like I want my function to run, I can pass stuff in. And that stuff that gets passed in gets passed into the parameters. You can think of your parameters as variables that only exist inside the function. That's it. You can think of parameters as variables that only exist inside the function. So I call my mom to argue, and whatever we argue about can get passed into the function. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at a function that's actually like a real thing. So here is my function declaration called yell. Here's my function declaration called yell. What this does is it alerts the word that I pass in. Chat, what is this right here? What did I just circle, chat? What did I just circle? Yes, this is my function call. And if this is my function call, what is this right here? If that whole thing's the function call, what is that? What's that? Yes, it's my argument. I am calling my function to argue. And so this argument gets passed into the function. Now, wherever I see word, it's my argument of hello, right? Wherever I see word, it's now my argument of hello. So what's going to happen is if I actually set this up, I would see the word hello in a pop-up. Okay, let's take a look. Let's take a look and see it. I know this can be tricky at first. Let's take a look and see. I'm just going to copy it and I'm going to open up my inspector. Go to my console here. Let's paste this function, hit enter. That function's now in memory. And now I can call it yell hello. There we go. We saw the lovely pop-up that came up with the word hello. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Let's do, get my head out the way. I can't type like this. Ayo. There we go. There we go. And now I just yelled ayo, right? Because I passed in my argument of ayo. It went into word. And wherever I see word, that's what's getting alerted. Okay. Let's clear it. Let's try something else. Let's do yell. I would never yell at Bob, but it worked. I passed in Bob and I saw it alerting Bob. So the cool thing is with just creating this function, I can then call it as many times as I want. And anything I passed in as my argument will actually be alerted. Right? And so this is a very simple function, but our functions can get way more complex. And the more complex they get, the more time they're going to save. And what we're going to realize is that our functions are really going to be the building blocks that all of our other programs are sitting on. All the cool stuff we've been doing up until now worked because we were dealing with functions. Okay? Now, let's play with this a little bit. Let's modify this a little bit. Let's just see it real quick. Let's just play with it a little bit. Let's inspect. Let me paste. And let me put in 2 parameters now. Let's get a little wild here, folks. Actually, let's do a tick here. Let's do a tick, and then let's throw in word. We're going to build out a Mad Libs. All right, there we go. I'm blank today, but not blank. Let's go ahead and try this. Let's do yell. And I'm going to pass in 2 arguments. I'm passing 2 arguments. I'm going to pass in I'm hungry, but not thirsty. There we go. And now we just alert it. I'm hungry today, but not thirsty. All right. So the idea here is that we can start, don't worry about the syntax here, but the idea is that we can start having multiple arguments if we want it to. We can have multiple parameters that grab those arguments, and we can start plugging them into our function. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at our Let's Code of simple functions. So let's go ahead and open that up for me. And there are 3 prompts here. Create a function that adds 2 numbers and alerts the sum. Create a function that multiplies 3 numbers and console logs the product. And create a function that divides 2 numbers and returns the... Anybody know what the result of division is? Anyone know what the result division is? The quotient. Code, you can do whatever you want inside your function. You can console log, you can alert, you can return, you can do all these magical things. You don't have to spit out anything if we don't want to. All right, I want you to try this. Go ahead and try these 3. I know you just learned functions. I know this is hard. I know this is one of those weird things that can break your brain, but I want you to try. Set up your function declaration. Look at this slide. Look at this slide. Set up your function declaration. Do what you want it to do inside of it, and then call it. That's what you're trying to do. But for these 3 simple functions, go ahead. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. I want you to try it. Even if you just copy and paste this syntax and then modify it, that's what I want you to do. 5 minutes, and then we're going to go over it together. We're going to work through them together. And then we are going to do one more example and end it for the evening. Go ahead and try it. Gonna bring on some tunes while you work on it. Even if you have to copy and paste what's here, or better yet, type it all out and then do it. Roya 25 with the sub. Thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. 2 months in a row. Thank you. I appreciate that. Leon, I hear this song in my dreams now. I love it. Jen, we are doing the simple functions exercise here. And there's 3 things it's asking you to try and do here. That's what we're working on. Alrighty, folks. You got this. 3 minutes, 30 seconds. What framework did you use to code? What are you talking about, Blaze It? Blaze It 420 Canada. If you're just joining us now, folks, and you need the code that we're working through, ! Discord in the chat. Go ahead and join the community, agree to the rules, and then there's a follow along with tutorials channel where you can go ahead and grab everything. Oh, the Resilient Coders website, that's all done in React. Yeah. Ooh, look at all the folks coming in done. Yas done. Subtoast done. Manny done except for the return. Have no clue what to do with that. It's all right. We'll go over it together. Ooh, look at all these dones coming in. I love it. What's the result of division? Console log that mofo. Alrighty, folks. A little bit under 2 minutes left to go. Are we going to learn React? Absolutely, Chop. We will get to React. We're going to do HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which we've been doing. Take a break, come back, build real sites with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and then jump right into Node, MongoDB, Postgres, and then React. And we're going to build. Got 4 days off this weekend. That's dope. Dunzo Keikos. Zerkito 12. We are on technically week 6 of 30 with a 2-week break in between. Will I be running another bootcamp in the future? That's the goal. Yeah, keep them going. a man does not have sauce, then he is lost. But the same man can get lost in the sauce. Those are wise words. I agree with indifferent ghost there. It takes time. Functions are one of those things that open up so much when it clicks. It once functions click, your mind just gets blown. You start seeing them everywhere and you realize, and then once you learn objects and you're like, holy crap, everything's just objects and functions, and that's it. Oh, Pansy Wans 182. Thank you for the hydration. Everyone take a sip as you finish up. 10 seconds left. Keep it real. It's a mental block. I can't wait for it to clear. Yeah, this is a hard one. If this is your first time ever doing this, it's hard to click. That's why I want you all to do the reading before you come to class, just so that a lot of the stuff we cover isn't like the first time you've actually seen it. So it's not like when you see some of this stuff, it's like first it's the shock and then it's the not knowing. And so if you do the reading, at least the shock happened while you're doing the reading and you can just focus on the not understanding. Ooh, folks coming in done right at the end. Miss Turner and Sheena with the done right at the end. All right, let me go ahead and cut the music here. And let's take a look at these together. All right, create a function that adds two numbers and alerts the sum. So I'm going to use the function keyword, just like we saw on the slide. That's how I know I'm creating a function. And since I know I'm going to add two numbers, I'm just going to call it add. And if I want it to be more descriptive, I would say add two numbers. I think that's a good name for this function because that's what it does. You want to name your functions after what the function does. So add two numbers. And we know since we're going to be taking in two numbers, we're going to need two parameters. I'm going to call it num1 and num2. All right. Adds two numbers and alerts the sum. So I could do it simple like this. I can just do alert and then do num1 plus num2. That would work, right? Like this would take in two numbers and alert it. And let's try it. Let's call it add two numbers and let's pass in 2 and 3. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's see if this works. I always like to test my stuff. Open up the HTML file. Open in the wrong page. Hold on, wrong browser. 1 second. There we go. There we go. Lovely. It worked. We got 5 in the alert. 5 in the alert. Garrett, Leon stole my code. Let's take a look at this. Chat. What is this that I am circling? What did I just circle, chat? What did I just circle? Chat, what did I just circle? Yes, it's a function declaration. Like I put that function into memory. There's a function declaration in memory. Great. And then chat, what did I do here? What is this called? It's my what? Yeah, it's my function call. And I always call to argue. So if I'm always calling to arguing, 2 and 3 are my what? 2 and 3 are my, lovely. See it coming in. My arguments, great. So let's follow what actually happens when I called this. Let me make this a little bit bigger here so we can see a little bit better. So when I actually ran this, 2 fell into the bucket num1, right? And then 3 fell into the bucket num2. So wherever I see num1 inside, what am I actually dealing with? Right now, what is num1 inside this function equal to? 2, great. And right now, inside this function, what is num2 equal to? Nice, 3. All right, let's go ahead and call it again. And this time we're going to pass in 2 different arguments. We're going to pass in 10 and 22. And the same thing is going to happen this time. The argument of 10 is going to fall into the parameter of num1. And then the argument of 22 is going to fall into num2. Manny, thank you for the sub. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Right? That's all that's happening. And the cool thing is I can reuse this function that's in memory over and over and over again. Right? I can reuse it over and over again. I can call it as many times as I want, passing in different arguments. And each time I pass in a different argument, I'm going to get a different value out. So this code block is reusable. That's one of the cool things about functions, is that they are reusable. Cool. Let's do the next one. Now, there's lots of things you could have done. You could have put like a variable in here, did the summing, and then alerted the variable. Like you could have done this just so we can see it. Let sum equal somebody once told me. Oh, so I don't want to get copyright strict. I'm not going to sing the whole thing because my singing is too perfect. It would get picked up and the whole VOD would be taken down. And then we could have just done this. Same thing, right? Same thing. Same thing. We just did the summing up here and then alerted it here. Same thing, just an extra line of code. It's up to you how you want it to do it. Still works. All right, let's take a look at the next one. Create a function that multiplies 3 numbers and console logs the product. All right, so let's create a function called multiplies 3 nums. Multiplies 3 nums is the name of my function. There's no doubt when you look at this function, you know what it does. There's no doubt when you look at this function, you know what it does, because it literally tells you in the name of the function, add 2 numbers, multiplies 3 numbers. I could hand this function to anyone and they're going to know what it does because I've named it appropriately. Num1, num2, and num3. And we're going to console log the product. Handy shortcut is just do log and hit tab. And let's go ahead and do num1 times num2 times num3. Cool. This should work. Let's go ahead and save this real quick. I'm going to go back and I'm going to refresh my page. All right, we got the first alert. We got the second alert. But when I open up my console, why is there nothing printed to my console? Why is there nothing in my console? I got the 2 alerts, but I don't have anything in my console. Chat's hip tonight. I didn't call it. I didn't call this function. So let's go ahead and call it. Multiplies 3 nums, and let's pass it a number. 3, 6, 9. Whoop. Clicked out. 3, 6, 9. Let's save it. Let's go back to the browser and see what happens. All right, we got that first alert from the adding, the second alert from the adding, and then my console log from the multiplication. That's pretty cool. All right, let's do the last one. Create a function that divides 2 numbers and returns the result of division. So let's go ahead and do function. So I know I'm building a function here. Function. Let's go ahead and call it divides 2 numbers. No doubt what this function does. Let's go ahead and put our parameters in here. Num1, num2. And then let's go ahead and create a function here that divides numbers and returns it. So we go ahead and do return. And let's return num1 divided by num2. Now the interesting thing about returning is returning just spits out the value to wherever it was called. So wherever I call it, return's going to spit it out. So let's go ahead and save this. Let's go ahead and look. Let's refresh the page. We get our addition, we get our second addition, we get our multiplication, and then let's do our divides to numbers, and let's pass in 12 and 4. What did I do wrong here? Oh, what did I do wrong here? This is interesting one. I see people do this a lot. People do this all the time. All the time. I tried doing the math inside my parentheses. I tried doing the math right here. I didn't even want the function to do its job. I tried doing it right there. That's not going to work. We want to pass these in as arguments. These are arguments. These are not anything else other than arguments. I passed it in and it gets spit out to where it was called. So that's why I'm seeing 3 right above my head, because the return spit it out where it was called. Second try. Cool. So we have our addition, we have our multiplication, and we have our addition, our multiplication, and our division. All right. We got one more thing on the docket here. But I'm just going to introduce it, and then we're gonna take a break. So we had this bring it home. So let's go ahead and take a look at it real quick. This bring it home practice has a lot of practice here. There's some variable practice, there's some function practice, and there's some conditional practice. I want you to do all of this for homework, and it will be the first thing that I review on Saturday at office hours. So office hours, 12 p.m. On Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. We'll be back here on Twitch. We're going to review everything that we reviewed tonight. We're going to go over it all again. I'm going to make sure I go through all the examples. I'm going to try and get through the first 100 questions that come in on the Google form. And we're going to review this, bringing it home. So please, before you show up on Saturday, try and get this done. Try working on this. And then we're going to go over it together on Saturday. Daddy Yankee with a reminder to do your Anki. I couldn't agree more. And remember, you're doing the bring it home, but you also have another mandate for your homework. And that mandate is to go back to all the solutions that we just did, comment out all the JavaScript, and rewrite it. Rewrite it until you don't have to look. Get used to seeing those patterns. And then on Saturday, Booty Liquor, thank you for the cheers. On Saturday, we're going to go over everything again. And I'm going to show you how everything has been functioned since the beginning. So we're going to really dive into functions. When we come back next week, we're talking all about how to freelance. Tuesday is all about freelance. I'm going to give you everything you need to start freelancing on Tuesday. After office hours on Saturday, we're going to play some Minecraft. So I hope to see you all there. I'm going to ask for the networking sheet on Tuesday. And remember, I'm also going to release the coding challenge for today when I put up the solutions. Okay. So you have a little bit of stuff to do here. You got the bring it home to do. You got the coding challenge to do. And you got the homework of repetition to do. Make sure you're keeping up with your networking. Make sure you're keeping up with your Anki. And I will see you all on office hours. Before you leave, let's do a raid. Let's go over and send Rav some love. Rav is a fellow streamer that's always in our Discord helping folks. So let's go ahead and send them a love. If you haven't followed, please follow. Please show them love. They're always helping, like literally always helping folks. So it'd be nice if you give them some follow, send them some love. Let's go ahead and do that now. Setting it up. Alrighty. Starting the raid. I'll see y'all over there. Hang out for a little bit. Give them some follow. Send them some love. And I'll see you all over there. Have a great night. Hope you learned some JavaScript. See y'all on Saturday. Looking forward to it. Peace.